hope everybody's having a great day. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about what exactly my title says it is. The crypto world is changing. The crypto world around us is not the same crypto world it was, 24 to 12 months ago. And let's go over some of the reasons why. You had Cell, you had Luna Classic, you had Voyager, you had FTX, and you had a couple other implosions within the crypto system that has forced itself to change. Crypto has forced itself to change. And the change is going to come. And the changes, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think the changes are going to be all bad. But I don't think that the crypto world that we operate in today will be the world that we operate in, let's say 12 months to 24 months from now. I think a lot of changes are going to take place. A lot of regulations are going to take place, and a lot of investors are getting smarter. And we're going to get into all of that. With especially FTX, which I believe is one of the biggest debacles in crypto history. I think what you're going to see from that, because Voyager had its issues, and Cell had its issues, and a couple other exchanges have had their issues. BlockFi has issues. What you're going to see from all of this, even Crypto.com has some stuff going around about it right now, but they're going to come out the other side okay. But what you're going to see from all this is you're going to see regulation. And because centralized exchanges are so easy to regulate, it's an easy target, right? And it's a target that makes sense to me. You are going to see some regulations come out around centralized exchanges, I believe, that protect the investor, that protect the assets of the investor, that protect the investor's money. You're starting to see centralized exchanges come out now and start to show proof that they have enough money to back up the assets that are being bought, sold, and the deposits that are being put on their exchanges. This is a good thing. It's no different than if you look at JP Morgan and Fidelity and their trading platforms. All of your assets are held by a third-party manager. And when you buy and trade stocks on there, they're held by a third-party manager. And right now, cryptocurrency, when you go to a centralized exchange, there's no guarantee. Your money's not backed up, and nobody's holding your assets. And right now, a lot of exchanges, and I'm not singling out one exchange over the other, there's going to be a bigger fallout from this FTX debacle than what we've seen so far. It's going to get worse before it gets better. But you're starting to find out that these centralized exchanges have been leveraging your assets and leveraging your deposits and leveraging the cryptocurrency, and over leveraging themselves. Basically, they are bankrupting their own centralized exchanges on the backs of your deposits and the cryptocurrency and their liquidity. So, and also, with the FTX situation, they created a coin and over leveraged their coin, which is the FTT coin, and basically minted more FTT coin than what was actually in their market cap. Over leveraged themselves, overextended themselves, was messing with people's cryptocurrencies, was messing with people's deposits, all this stuff, and it went all unchecked for a long time. And now it's time to check it, and we will, and the regulators will check it, and they should. I believe that when you're on a centralized exchange, your assets should be backed up, and that's why they call it a centralized exchange, because it should be a secure place for people that want to buy and sell cryptocurrencies or any other asset in a safe manner, where their assets are backed up by a real balance sheet. And if you're on an exchange that also has a token with no utility outside of paying rewards, or there's really no reason for you to have that token except for rewards or cheaper trades. Then you have to question how far they're leveraging that token. And I think with regulation, what you're going to see is you're going to see them tokens go away, because they're over leveraged, and you're going to see some more exchanges go down. And that's not bad. I'm not telling you it's a bad thing. We need to shake out. You'll hear me say this throughout the whole video. We need to shake out the players in this crypto game that are not that don't have the best interests of their investors in mind. And from a decentralized standpoint, I believe that decentralization and blockchain development is the future of the world. I think that blockchain development is one of these things that we are seeing just scratching the surface on right now, that is going to change the way that we exchange money, that we exchange information, that we store information, um, and the game, even the way we game. And you look at the metaverse now coming to life a little bit. It's just in its infinite stages right now. We're just scratching the surface on the metaverse. And I think we're just scratching the surface on blockchain. I don't even think that we can even imagine where blockchain is going to take us right now. And that's great. And I think blockchain is going to extend far beyond cryptocurrency. But just to talk about cryptocurrency right now in the decentralized space, we've there's been a lot of issues with these low cap coins. There's been rug pools, a lot of them. There's been honeypots, a lot of them. There's been tokens that um, basically have just been on repeat, same devs, same token, same devs, repeat doing the same thing, rugging people, taking people's money. Um, these are all things that are currently going on in the cryptocurrency market that gives cryptocurrency a black eye. Eventually, these things will come to a head. Eventually, your DeFi space will become a little bit more tied down in regulation at some point when it gets there. I think the days, I think stable coins, centralized exchanges will be regulated 1 and 2. And I think in order for a clear shakeup and regulation of DeFi, people have to understand it. And I think they're in the stages of understanding it. But I think the days of Uniswap and Pancake Swap, no KYCs, just launching tokens um, that are known rug pulls, are known honeypots, no KYC, no nothing, pay your money, launch your token type of environments. They're here for a little while, but like Rodney says, they're here for a good time, but they ain't here for a long time, because they're not going to make it. And the way that they operate on these decentralization exchanges with no KYCs, none of that stuff, no backup, no backing, that's just not going to fly. They're going to have tighter restrictions on who launches tokens on their platform, because decentralization, I'm all about decentralization, but what I'm not about is scams. And I'm not all about scams, and I don't think that a lot of people are. And I think eventually, it's all going to come to a head. But right now, hey, look, I've been in some DJ plays. I've been in DJ plays, and I'm a DJ, but I know them days are numbered as well. Um, and the crypto investors themselves are changing. The way that we invest is changing. If you look at 12 months ago, somebody would come out of pre-sale would sell out, thing would go 10x, maybe 100x. People would be cashing out, keep a little bag in there for the long term and move on. and ape into the next pre-sale, and then ape into the next pre-sale, and then do the same thing. It was rinse and repeat, right? But you don't see that going on right now, because investors are smarter, and investors are now looking at these lower market cap projects, and they're starting to ask better questions. They're starting to scrutinize the devs a little bit. They're starting to scrutinize the roadmap a little bit, and they're starting to not ape in. They're starting to take their money and say, all right, this project looks good. I'll throw a little bit at it, see how it does, throw a little bit more at it. If it does well, throw a little bit more at it if it does well. And then take their initial investments out and make sure that they're securing their financial situation in this particular project. And that's a very, very smart way to do it. And that's a very, very investor mindset way to invest. And I think that's the way of the new investor now. We're starting to get more and more investors from the stock market coming over to crypto. And they're very much, I come from the stock market as well, very much conservative in the way that they invest, not invest in things that keep them up at night. And I will be honest, I was in a couple of degen plays, a lot of degen plays, where you go to bed and you wake up in the next morning, liquidity's gone, or the devs are gone, or they're out of sight, out of mind, and I think people have lived that, and I don't think that they're investing in that anymore, and at least not at the rate in which they were. And I think that you'll see that rate will continually decrease as we move forward. And people want utility. Um, Gone are the days that you invest in a project, they sell you a dream, and that dream is 2 years from now. The investors now want utility. They want it either at launch, or they want it very closely after launch, and they want to see some proof that it's in development before launch. So these are the things that are changing in the space. And also, people want to see investments that are in projects that have revenue outside of their tokenomics. And this makes perfectly good sense to me. Think about where we are at right now in a bear market. And your token is just ran off of tokenomics. No outside investments, no outside revenue. Well, tokenomics are great in a bull market when everybody's buying your token, because it brings in a lot of money to your project. But in a bear market like we're in now, and money is scarce, and your volume is low, and your token's based solely off tokenomics. If you were 50% into a build on in a bull market, and then all of a sudden you hit a bear market and your revenue went down because your tokenomics, because you only ran off of your tokenomics, what's the chances of you actually getting enough volume to finish your project? Not very good. So, investors see this now, and they're starting to ask questions, and they're starting to really question this. And this is a good thing. And you should question this, because if your project on its roadmap doesn't have a plan to generate revenue outside of its tokenomics, think about how they're going to operate in a bear market, and not just a bull market. Anybody can operate in a bull market, um, but can you operate in a bear market? And this is the questions that investors are starting to ask, and make their investments accordingly, which I think is a very, very smart thing. Also, in these low cap marketplaces, what you're starting to see too is community means a lot. And if your community is toxic, the chances of your project succeeding isn't good. Um, and I'll give you a little story. I have some investors that invest in the stock market, and I brought them to a Twitter space, and everything was going great. And they were like, "Oh, this is cool. This is good. Project looks good. Everything looks good." And then all of a sudden, the host lost control of the Twitter space, and people were calling people's names. They were acting a fool. They were just, it was ridiculous. And they looked at me and they said, "And you want me to invest in this?" I couldn't even defend it. So, community means a lot. There's a lot of communities out there that are open, and there are a lot of communities out there that are welcoming. And then there's some communities out there that are toxic, and the toxic communities will kill a project. And I think it's changing me. What I think is changing about this is I think that the toxic communities, they're going to fold in on themselves, and their projects are going to no longer be around. Devs could have the best intentions in mind. They could have the best project, but people just aren't going to invest in it. You're not bringing stock market investors over, people that invested in the stock market, or institutional money over, um, to a community that's toxic. It's not what they're used to investing in. That's not how they're used to investing. And that's not what they're going to invest their money in. So, that's going to change, because these, the money that you want to be invested into these projects just isn't going to come. And if you don't have utility and you don't have a clear business plan, they're not going to invest in you. And if your community is not good, they're not going to invest in you. So, keep that stuff in mind when you're looking at these long-term investments. But, the investors are changing. I'm a stock market investor. I used to invest in the stock market. And I can tell you, not flying, not happening. And that's what you're seeing now. So kind of to sum this all up, and how I believe that the cryptocurrency market is changing, is I think that we are going to see more and more regulation. And we're going to see it first in a stable coin market, where your stable coins have to be backed up, which they should. That's why I call them stable coins. They have to be backed up by actual, you know, assets to justify having a stable coin, or it's not stable. I think Terra Luna proved that an algorithmic stablecoin does not work. The it can be broke, and when it's broke, it's catastrophic. And I think you will see an outlaw on them, and I think you'll see stable coins have to back themselves up with real fundamental assets. I think you're going to see the centralized exchanges be highly regulated, which they should. They should. They should have some sort of regulation on them. People's money should be safe. People's money should be backed up. People's money should, the central exchange should show proof that they have enough reserves to back people's money up. They shouldn't over leverage themselves. They should show proof that they're not over leveraged. And actually, the crypto investors should demand this from them. The decentralized world will probably be the last thing that anybody touches as far as regulation, because you have to understand it. And I just hope that when they do get to the decentralized part of regulation, they don't stop innovation for the sake of regulation. But I do hope that they do really shake out the bad actors. Um, and it's, community wise, got to clean it up. We got to clean it up. Got to be better. I'm just as guilty as anybody. I've come at some people, not without cause, but I have. But we got to clean it up. We got to do a little bit better with that. And I think it will get cleaned up one way or the other. I think some of these projects just won't make it, and they won't make it because they're not good projects. They won't make it because their community's not together. They're not strong, and they're toxic. To the bottom line is that's the bottom line. But I think that all these things that are coming our way, one, we deserve them, because of the amount of rug pulls we had, the amount of honeypots we've had, the amount of devs that have just straight up abandoned their investors, the centralized exchanges that have over leveraged themselves and just wrecked people, the Terra Luna situation where, it was that's just a mess. It's a mess. And I don't even know if it'll ever get better. But it's just a mess. So I think a lot of the stuff that is coming our way from a cryptocurrency standpoint, um, we can't say, and this is going to be a very unpopular statement in the cryptocurrency world, and that's okay because I'm willing to take the heat, but we can't sit here and say that we didn't deserve them because the way that we've operated for a long time, when they call it the Wild Wild West, it has been the Wild Wild West. And, it just can't continue to be the Wild Wild West if we want big institutional money to come in and really push cryptocurrency to the next level. So that's my take on this whole situation and kind of where we're headed and where I'm at with it. Um, and I do respect CZ. A lot of people say that he was the cause of FTX. I remind them that CoinDesk put out the first article in regards to FTX and their subsidiary company before CZ ever tweeted that out. But everything that he said so far has proven to be true. So he's actually given everybody the heads up. So, I don't blame CZ for any of this. I actually respect him because he's telling people what's going on. So if he told you about FTX and you left your money in FTX, you gotta ask yourself why you did that. So if he is telling you that crypto.com just transferred all this money to gate.io and you look into it and they just transferred all this money to gate.io, why are you mad at him? So, we got to be better in our communication. We want transparency, but then when we get transparency, we're mad because we have transparency. So, we do need transparency in this space. And people that step up and give it to us, you got to respect them for that. So, that's my take on all that. And with that, guys, I know this is a longer video, but there's a lot going on. That's my take on everything. And with that, like this channel, subscribe to this channel. I'll continue to bring you guys what I have when I have it, and we can talk about it all. But right now, the cryptocurrency market, we need to fix ourselves, and we need to make the space better, or people are going to come in and make the space better for us, or what they think is better for us. So with that, I'm out. Everybody have a great night.